With Arc Raiders being an extraction shooter and current day extraction shooters having a mostly hardcore fan base, is it a game that has the casual fan base in mind? Now, this is a very important question to ask yourself before purchasing Arc Raiders. If you're like me who has school, a job, a girlfriend, and a 401k, it's pretty difficult to catch up with other players who are unemployed. Something to consider before getting this game is whether you have the time to join multiple raids a day and many other things that we're about to cover. So some background. Extraction shooters usually last a good amount of time, usually around 20 minutes a raid, depending on your playstyle and stuff like that. Even if you do somehow have the time, you also have to take into consideration that extraction shooters are basically glorified looter shooters, meaning the loot is the main attraction in the game. This is nothing like Call of Duty or Battlefield where you can use some starter weapons and eventually get all of their attachments pretty quickly. In extraction shooters, the main goal is to get loot in your raids, which can or cannot happen depending on if you get killed or not. Dying means not only losing your current setup, but also not having extracted any loot, which means you're dependent on your stash. You better hope you have good aim and good awareness so that you don't empty out your stash and end up losing all your loot. The reason being is losing your loot means you're going to pretty much be in for a bad time. And this is just one of the issues with extraction shooters. Another thing to consider for extraction shooters is whether you will have teammates or not. If you're going in solo, it can be pretty difficult to take down groups of people just because of the nature of being outnumbered. This is something I see veteran players being able to get around, but for the casual players who want to play solo, it may be difficult progressing anywhere. Another big issue is wipes. Normally in extraction shooter games, you will lose all your loot. Regardless if it's in your stash or your character gear, you will lose everything every so often. And you would have to regrind for everything you have or want to get. This is pretty much the seasonal experience for people who play extraction shooters. Now I'm going to talk about why Arc Raiders is different. With all this being said, Arc Raiders is just different. This is a very ballsy move by Embark Studios, but they are changing the genre for the better, in my opinion. Going back to the issues I addressed earlier with you getting no loot, luckily this game has a save packet, meaning any loot you grab and put into your save packet is safe even if you die. This isn't something unique to Arc Raiders, but this is a key way for players to put blueprints and materials in their save packet for later on use. These blueprints and materials are used to craft weapons. So unlike other extraction shooters, you can get weapons just through looting and using your save packet. Doing this solves the issue of not being able to get guns, but the only con, at least for now, is that you're limited to putting like 2 things in your pouch. This could change in the future, but for now, that's what it's at. So this would not be a fast way to get weapons, in my opinion. That is something to consider before you buy this game. It could be a drag just getting any sort of gear in this game. Arc Raiders is also more friendly towards solos compared to other extraction shooters. The maps are structured in a way that you can get around with never seeing anybody unless you really want to. The maps have different ground levels and many buildings in a big map, so the gunfights might not always come to you unless you're looking for them. The only thing you have to worry about though are the enemy NPCs. Something to know about the NPCs is they use machine learning for their actions, meaning they aren't very predictable. Something to counter this is to learn what weapons or spots on the enemy NPC are able to deal more damage to it. But overall, solos will suffer more than people in groups, but if you're more engaged with your environment, you should still be able to have a good time, just based off the good map design. However, there is something Arc Raiders is doing that you may or may not like for its matchmaking. There is going to be squad and solo based matchmaking, meaning if you're a solo, you have a high chance of only going against solos in your lobby, and if you're in a squad, there will be a high chance of only squads being in your lobby. This isn't a guarantee, at least from my understanding, but more often than not, you will run into only solo players or a squad if you're in a squad. This to me is really good. Like I said, this is like a perfect scenario for those solo players that just want to chill and have fun. Depending on how the community goes, I don't doubt people who are solos will pair up with each other and go against other players in the lobby. So maybe if you see someone alone, try to see if they want to team up. Just be careful not to get backstabbed. And if you don't already know, this game does have proximity chat, so you'll be able to team up pretty easily. You can also fill up your squad if you're interested in being with randoms before entering a raid. The good thing is there is no friendly fire in this game, so a bunch of randoms won't jump you as you spawn in, so that's something to consider. If you haven't heard yet, Arc Raiders is not having any wipes. This is a huge thing for people who can't play all the time and don't want to grind this game 24/7. This means FOMO won't really be a thing since you can eventually get everything. This is a huge game changer in my opinion, and Embark Studios hasn't forgotten about the hardcore players. They're going to do a prestige system where players can reset and lose all their things in exchange for rewards, mostly just being cosmetics from my understanding. This is like a really cool concept in my opinion, as it feels like a COD prestige system, which gives players a reason to play. Hopefully in the future they can add more prestiges and rewards as well as a ranked raid mode for those try-hard players. This is good news to casuals and hardcore players since they are both being considered in this game, and they might even add more endgame stuff to do just to keep people entertained. Who knows, but as for now, everything is subject to change until launch, and even past it, it can very much change till now. In conclusion, some of the problems casuals will face is usually restricted with time, progression, and squad play. No one wants to be buying a game where they can never progress, or they never have the time to get the weapons they want, or they don't have a squad to play with. This game solves all those three issues, and it might work. It seems like Arc Raiders is trying its best to be inviting to both casuals and hardcore players, and I really hope this doesn't affect them in the future trying to please everyone, but it will be interesting to say the least. If you don't already know, there will be a playtest on October 17th that's open to everybody. If you liked what I talked about in this video, this is your chance to check it out and see if you will enjoy it yourself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Anyways, if y'all enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribe for more content on Arc Raiders. See you next time. Take care.